Yeah.
Nadine,
People
what
are freaking out in the comments, and I understand why.
Why are they freaking out?
Well, I mean, I think it's a heavy thing to talk about. You know, the last time there was a conversation about splitting up the country, it was in the context of slavery, and the good guys weren't the ones trying to split it up.
Yeah, they were. It wasn't the good. You know, we wanted to hold the nation together. That was the big vision.
But
scary. Yes, that means we're going to get through it. That is one way of getting through it. What we're just talking about is, what do we? If we can't get rid of, if it becomes a true oligarchy, which on his way out the door, Joe Biden in that speech, it's plenty to talk about, but he decided to really focus on oligarchs and an oligarchy because you can't undo that.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing:
the monarchs and the oligarchs. The Russians showed us how to do it. The French were pretty good at it. You know, that's an extreme as well.
Yeah. Well, but just to be clear, this oligarchy is international. Brexit, the same people behind Brexit, Farage, and all of those folks, Bannon, the same people behind the invasion of Ukraine. The oligarchs do not think of themselves in terms of nations. They think of themselves in terms of a class. They think of themselves as rulers. And so, yes, it's not an accident that Elon Musk from South Africa comes here, fudges his way through our immigration process, takes credit for things that he didn't build, and is Sieg Heiling behind the presidential seal, and then goes to Germany and says, you guys should stop feeling so bad about your Nazi past. Like, where do you go to escape that?
It's hard. It is hard. Yeah.
And even the idea that that splitting up in whatever mechanism to split up the country, will that save you from oligarchs, or does it, weaken the position, to have 8 different nations out of the remains? So I'm just saying, I understand.
I really don't know. I just think for me, it's, I don't want to not have it on the table for contemplation. Not to be an agitator. I'm not trying to do that. It's just this idea of like, no, we can never have that. That's not getting us anywhere either. And in the space of really coming to terms with, it could actually all be lost.
Yeah.
Our understanding of and how we defined ourselves and who we were as a nation actually could be over, and over in a manner that is way deeper and scopier, just more final than what people's brains are allowing them to come to terms with, and process. I think denial is I learned this when I was overcoming my own disability, but denial is not your friend. It's not your friend ever, 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 ever. There's not a space in which it's going to come to your aid, really, truly, when you're up against something real. And so I just have a muscle for myself that I've created, Nadine, where I do not want to live when I can identify there's some denial going on. I'm out really fast. I run from that fast and right into the harshest form of the reality that I can be comfortable with and try to grasp, so that I feel prepared. That's my survival gear. That's as in not gear that I wear, but as in gear of the car. That's my transmission. It does that. And I do think it's important. And this was supposed to be sort of like more of a fun segment because we were going to let, but it's heavy.
It is
important. It's important
because part of how they're freaking out is about finances. The idea of either fleeing the country or breaking up the country implies resources to move about. And so I think the moment you have these conversations, you begin to have a conversation about what options people have.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Right?
for sure.
And
We're
so
taking everybody.
We're
New
taking
York taking everybody. All the immigrants
we're
coming.
taking everybody. It's more also, it's not a fake sort of threat as a real consideration. When that starts to be entertained with seriousness by people, and you really start to look at it and what would it take and what would it mean, it does force everybody into a stark moment of realization, including the people who think they want to get rid of, us blue states.
Mm-hmm.
But we all know they can't survive without it. And so then it's sort of like you start to empty your pockets and pony up. Let's see, just turn over your fucking cards. Let's call this bluff.
Right. But for example, California could call a bluff right now, right? California contributes more to the federal government than it receives.
Mm-hmm.
And according to the Constitution, California could use a horse and buggy to slowly deliver what is due to Washington, D.C., in the most inconvenient manner possible, in a way that would have a real effect, right?
Yeah.
Somebody's got to send out for a whole shitload of dimes.
Yeah, a whole bunch of dimes.
A whole bunch of dimes.
In a slow caravan.
Yeah.
And, we are the decentralized notion of our country. Usually states' rights are something that the right is leaned on.
I think it's
but it can be the thing that we lean on. So I'm just saying that the conversations about fleeing the country, dividing the country, I think they require a deeper thought about whether it plays into the hands of a Steve Bannon who wants to see it all burn.
But Steve Bannon's burning it. I mean, not him specifically, but
he is. He is.
But they are burning it. So
they are.
That's what I'm talking about.
So if you've ever been on a sinking boat,
yeah,
there is a window of time where bailing makes sense, and there becomes a moment when bailing no longer makes sense. And if you don't get off that boat, you will be pulled under by the force of that boat.
Yeah, correct.
And so it is difficult to both bail and bail out at the same time. And so I think that's the tension that you're hearing or seeing in the comments